Is everybody here? Can I proceed? Do we think we got everybody? I believe so. Okay, thank you for coming. If everybody's ready, I want to introduce who's up here with me. We have Captain Shannon Bagley with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, Detective Bill Borian. He's also with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. We have Deputy Chief Eric Payne with Grand West Police Department, Case Weston, Detective with the Grand West Police Department, and Lieutenant Kristen Rogers with the Grand West Police Department. Since the body of Dumbuya was found on January 28th in Kalamazoo, both the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety and the Grand West Police Department have devoted hundreds, if not thousands of hours trying to solve this case. It's a credit to the professionalism and the dedication of both departments on just how well they work together. This truly was a joint operation. There's no turf battles. There's no arguments about who was going to do what. They came together seamlessly to work on this case together. We also should give credit to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab, Joel Schultze and his employees over there. They went above and beyond in terms of what they did to provide assistance to this case. And we can't leave out Kentwood Police Department. Obviously, they have a companion criminal sexual conduct case that is going on at the same time. They provided assistance to this investigation. So we have 3 West Michigan departments who really contributed a tremendous amount to devote in their resources and manpower and to find out what happened in this case. The Michigan State Police Crime Lab did as well, based on their intensive investigation of the past 3 months, and prepared at this point in time to announce the following charges. We have charged Quinn Anthony James with 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder. We have also charged him with 1 count of felony murder, the underlying felony being unlawful imprisonment and kidnapping. We have charged him with 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. All of those are penalties of a maximum of life without the possibility of parole. In addition, he is supplemented as a 4th felony offender. Along with Mr. James, we have charged Gerald Bennett with 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as a 4th felony offender as well. Mr. Bennett also has a perjury charge relating to this investigation that is pending at this point in time. Both of these men are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law, obviously. But based on the hundreds, if not thousands, of man hours that these departments did, we believe we have solved and can tell the public what happened to Mujay back in January of this year. The family was notified early this morning of these charges and what would be taking place regarding them. We can't say a whole lot. Obviously, this is a pending case, so we can't divulge, all our facts and circumstances. I think Detective Sergeant Griffin we have a probable cause affidavit. He can pass those out now if anybody wants them. He's over there. This is the affidavit that was filed this morning at the Grand Rapids 61st District Court that gives the facts that the Detective Weston swore to with the warrant. So we can provide you those details, but beyond what is contained in the affidavit, ethically, we cannot, go into the, entire investigation or provide a whole lot more in terms of facts regarding what occurred. Essentially, I think that's all I have at this point in time. I can take some questions, and if we can answer them, we will. If we can't, I will tell you can't. Do you have any questions?
Darren Eckford was also named as one of the potential accomplices with James Quinn. Why no further charges for him? There's
no charges. We don't have any charges for him at this point in time. We don't believe he was involved.
At all?
At all.
In the murder?
In the murder.
Okay. And Tierra Burnett, his girlfriend?
No charges for her at this point in time.
Okay. No connection to the murder.
At this point in time, we're not filing any charges. There's still things there's still investigation going on. There's still facts and details to come out. At this point in time, we're not filing any charges on those individuals.
Okay. And what was the family's reaction today hearing the news of these charges?
Yeah, they were, I think they were pleased. That's probably the best word I can say. I think they were hoping for something to happen, and something did happen. Beyond that, I can't say a whole lot.
Can you tell us the connection between James and Bennett?
Not at this point in time. That's part of going in the details of the investigation and what's going on. So that'll be divulged at some point in time when the facts come out in whatever the preliminary hearing or the trial. But at this point in time, we're not prepared to discuss that.
Wondering if the detective can talk a little bit about what's in here and how you feel about this.
I don't think I can without going into the facts of the case at this point. If you have a specific question, I'd be happy to discuss it with you.
Okay.
Based on these charges, it appears that there was a plot. There was some planning that went into murdering this teenager. Can you talk about how the rape case goes into this? And
There is a conspiracy. I mean, we charge conspiracy. A conspiracy is a different charge from a murder. Conspiracy means there's an agreement. The standard definition of conspiracy is a meeting of the minds, if you will. You go back to first year law school. So we are clearly charging a conspiracy between Mr. Bennett and Mr. Quinn.
when we talk about how Mujay failed to get on the bus that morning, did they grab her off the street? Did she go willingly?
That's what I talk about. We can't talk about the facts. Those are actually specific facts, and they'll be divulged when it's an appropriate time.
You know when that guy, how long after she missed the bus?
Still getting into the facts of the case. We're not going to get into all the details. Essentially what we did there is,
But being charged in Kent County, that would mean that she died in Kent County, correct?
not necessarily. We can charge, we can say for sure she was abducted from Kent County. So that gives us jurisdiction for just about anything that occurs beyond that. So you can't necessarily read in that we're saying she was died in Kent County. We can say she was abducted from Kent County for sure, because that clearly gives us jurisdiction.
Okay, and can you talk about the evidence that brought Gerald Bennett into these charges, new charges?
Same, that is part of the affidavit. He's on the affidavit in terms of conspiracy. That's, we're not divulging a whole lot more. The same affidavit was used in these
So
cases.
there were multiple surveillance videos with James in Grand Rapids. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Not beyond what we said there. I mean, that's it. There's surveillance videos. I'm not going to tell you where, when. Those are things, unfortunately we can't, part of the thing we have is we have to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial. We don't want to start tainting the jury, potential jurors who are out there who may see all this and say exactly what we have.
Sure. Was the surveillance video key in these charges? Can you talk about what the key piece of evidence?
I guess I can say there is no one key piece of evidence. I think this is a conglomeration of all the difficult work that these departments did. There's not one thing that's boom, here it is. This is everything. It's an everything case in terms of everything that was put together. And I have to mention Kelly Konsky from our office, who did a lot of work on this in terms of, you've heard about the investigative subpoenas. We did a lot of those. So there isn't one thing that I'm saying, there it is. It's everything. This is a very puzzle, putting the pieces of the puzzle together type of case.
And you believe you have all those pieces now?
Yes. I mean, maybe not all of them, but we have enough to charge.
Okay, perfect.
Could you have locked him up earlier if you were in a bind to arrest him? Because he's already in jail for
I guess I'm not going to speculate in terms of if we could have or what we could have done. I mean,
really tricky investigation.
I wouldn't say it was tricky. I mean, it was time consuming and, following everything, in terms of tricky, I wouldn't use that terminology. I think it's been a thorough investigation by both departments. I mean, I think they did what they needed to do and chased down everything they needed to chase down.
With the three defendants who've been charged with perjury, investigative subpoena, is there consideration of dismissing those charges in exchange for testimony?
We haven't got to that point yet. That's something that we'll be working on in terms of what we're going to do with all the perjuries. Yeah, depending on what happens in this case. So, as you well know, in our other cases that we've done, there's always those types of negotiations ongoing. But at this point in time, I'm not prepared to say what we're going to do exactly.
That's not on the table.
Not been discussed at all at this point in time.
Wondering if Bagley can talk a little bit about what you've discovered about Quinn James throughout this investigation. He doesn't seem, I mean, this was premeditated. This is not, he seems like a very dangerous person.
Help me with your question.
You have been looking into this investigation since it began. So I feel like you've been speaking with him, your investigators have been speaking with him. You have a good sense of who he is. I mean, we've interviewed him personally. He's changed his story multiple times. I'm just wondering if you can give the public a better sense of what this charge means as far as safety for public.
I'm trying to get my head wrapped around that. I'll say this. A lot of this is going to be sorted out through the court process, and I think we need to let that process happen. There's a tremendous amount of hard work by both agencies and the Kent County Prosecutor's Office. It was, as said before, I'll echo, it was seamless. Very impressed and pleased with where we are. So even though I probably didn't answer your question, there's something that's got to play out through the court process, which I think is an appropriate bidding for that. And a lot of those questions, or the questions specifically that you're asking, that will be taken care of during that process.
I'm just wondering how dangerous this man is.
Well, we're here because he's pretty dangerous. or the investigation leads to that. So once again, I don't want to speak out of turn. So we are at a place where I think we should be, and we'll let the process explain.
And the 17-year-old who gave testimony a couple of weeks ago, any charges filed against him?
17-year-old that gave testimony a couple weeks ago.
In court is Bibbs.
Oh, there's no charges, yeah. DQ, no, there's no charges. That he was related to the CSC investigation. There's nothing tying him in anything other than the CSC with being involved in this and the murder at all.
Any future dates for court?
No, I don't know if you had arraignment this afternoon, you had the swore this morning. I was 64, I'm assuming it'll be the 61st District Court this afternoon is what I would anticipate, because this was out of, where they lived. So it's going to be a Grand Rapids case where it starts.
Do we give a timeline on the murder yet? On what happened in 4 days from while she was missing?
We have a timeline. Yeah, obviously we have a timeline. I can't divulge it to you. That's part of, once again, going into the facts. We think we have an idea of what exactly happened, but in terms of giving it to you at this point in time, no, we're not going to do that.
When we have a teenager killed and her accused rapist arrested in her murder, what would investigators or police want to say to other victims or future victims out there about coming forward and their safety?
I think this is something that's extremely rare. I mean, this is something, typically I've talked to victims like that before. I've dealt with CSC cases over my 23-year career. This is the first time in 23 years in my career that I can say we have a CSC victim that was killed and we filed charges against somebody who was the defendant at that point in time. So can we say it? I used to tell them, that's something you see on TV. It really is not going to happen. Obviously, now we have a case where we believe it happened based on the facts that we've charged. It's still going to be extremely rare, so I hope this would not provide a chilling effect on people coming forward based on this one case.
And in court, we've heard prosecutors say that Quinn James is a possible serial rapist. We've heard testimony from his fiance's nephew saying that they would meet girls online, go out and meet them. Are there any concerns that there are other victims out there?
They're concerned. We've charged a number of victims already. I mean, we have more than one CSC charge pending against them. Could there be other victims? Perhaps. But it's not like this is fairly new. This case has been going on for 3 months. If some people want to come forward, maybe they'll come forward at this point in time. Are there any active investigations at this point in time in terms of what we're looking into? I can't say that.
Is there a public cry, just based on how disgusting the case really is when you look at all the facts? This is a child. Do you have anything to say to the parents out there to keep your child safe from something as terrible as this happening to them?
I guess the way I say to the parents is what, working for the Children's Advocacy Center that we signed, the victims of your typical CSC is not the stranger danger. It's somebody they know. And this is another case. It was somebody she knew. This isn't the stranger, coming somebody off the street. Your vast majority of child CSCs, whether it be, very young or, even in your teenage years, are somebody that's close to them.
But when you get to know somebody, they're not really who you think they are.
Sure, that could very well be the case.
In this case.
So in this case, but that's in any case. I mean, just the vast majority of cases are people that are close to the victim in any CSC child victim case. And this doesn't change that.
Sorry, one more question. Obviously, you're not giving the details of the evidence today, but you felt it was important to hold this press conference and let people know about these charges today. Tell me what was so important to get that information out.
I get this, how many people are involved. I mean, we knew this was a highly covered media case, and part of it is just, to be honest, easier for us. I mean, this is here, we can address everybody at the same time, and not, I deal with you calling me or John calling me or, people calling me at different times. What do you got? What do you got? We want to get all the information out to everybody at the same time, try and answer the same questions to everybody, give everybody a chance, and let the public know as well. So it's, kind of uniform, if you will. So I guess, if anything, it's more of a benefit to us just to try and do it all at once than try and field calls for the next 24 hours in different ways and who's getting what.
Is there any truth to his defense attorney's claims that this 2014 rape case was used to lock him up to give you guys time to investigate a murder?
I'm not going to get into what, Mr. Children's, he said a lot of things, so I'm just going to leave that. I don't like to try my cases through the media. I'll just leave that alone.
Did the criminal justice system fail this girl here after she accused him of rape and then she ends up getting murdered?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. It's a tragic event, and there are issues with it, obviously, but this is so rare. I mean, we filed charges. Judge Kelly put a substantial bond. $100,000 bond is not a small amount. Could have been higher, maybe been higher. There's arguments that way, but it's not a small amount. This is a rare, very rare, extremely rare event. So I'm not going to indict the whole criminal justice system and say, this is a failure. It's a tragedy, and it's something we wish would not have happened, but here we are.
Will the filing of these murder charges, what impact, if any, will it have on the 2 other pending cases, especially if we have trial dates?
I'm sure it's going to be, I don't know for sure. My gut reaction, I'm sure there's probably going to be a delay. I mean, by the time, because, the prelim for this, if we do, the PCC is going to be sometime the end of April. There's obviously a huge amount of material that whatever defense attorney gets this is going to want to through that. They're not going to be ready in 2 weeks. I mean, it's taken us 3 months, so they're not going to be ready in 2 weeks to do anything on it. So you're looking at a prelim date mid-May to late May. I think the one CSE charge is already set for trial in June. So and there's so my gut reaction is probably going to delay it.
Do you anticipate any charges from this case, not just against Mr. Quinn James, but against anybody else being filed down in Kalamazoo County?
Down in Kalamazoo, no, I'm not planning on it.
Okay.
Do not anticipate that.
Prepared to say where the homicide took place, either in Kalamazoo County or in.
Not prepared to say no.
Okay.
But it's clear from this document that you just gave us that the same day she went missing was the same day that her body was found or dropped off down in Kalamazoo. Correct? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, you're reading that correctly. But there's that, so you can read that, and it is what it is.
Can you give us some more insight into the Kalamazoo connection? And how she ended up
down there? No, not at this point in time.
But we do know that Quinn James spent part of his childhood in Kalamazoo.
Yes, you do. So, I mean, but what can I say? Because he was, he grew up in Kalamazoo, he went down there, and this is where I'm not going to say that.
So based on these charges, is it fair to say that Bennett wasn't involved in the actual killing?
I'm not fair to say that either. I mean, we charged him with conspiracy. There's different charges, obviously, but I'm not. We filed the charges that we thought were best at this point in time. But in terms of the specific facts, we'll let that play out.
Do you believe that he strangled her with his bare hands?
Once again, I'm not going to get into that.
At the onset of your investigation, do you guys have like a timeline where you hope to have charges by a certain point? Are you pleased with how long it's taken you?
No, we didn't. There was no timeline. I mean, these cases are always difficult, so there was no timeline that anybody up here said, you go where the evidence takes you. And sometimes cases go very quickly, and sometimes cases take a long time. I think this has progressed naturally is probably the best term. I don't think we pushed anything. I don't think we've delayed anything. I think we were very methodical. Both departments were very methodical in terms of following up on things, taking everything in consideration, and proceeding in a coherent manner, not trying to rush into things. And that's clearly what you don't want to do. You don't want to rush into anything. I don't think we did in this case.
After getting this evidence, has Quinn James admitted to the murder?
I can't get into anything along those lines either. I mean, I guess to be honest, no. I mean, I can tell you that because no, and that's nothing that's going to prejudice. He has not admitted to it. So. Anything
Captain
else?
Dagley, could you speak a little bit? We can do up at the podium for a second.
Sure.
So you guys, KDPS led this homicide investigation, and correct?
Yeah, it quickly became a joint venture, but yeah, initially just by how it kind of played out and evolved, but yeah.
And when we talk about how rare this kind of case is, can you speak to that and how odd it is? It seems like throughout this investigation, at every turn, it was another surprise, another, oh my gosh.
Well, I don't want to get too specific, as we've already kind of laid the groundwork for that. It doesn't happen, it's not a regular occurrence that a young lady's body is dumped here down in Kalamazoo. But, it's unfortunately, those type of things happen, but I would like to focus more on not so much those details right now because that's got to play out in court. Just want to reemphasize how much fantastic work has been done by Grand Rapids PD and then our detectives in Kalamazoo, and how seamless and collaborative the work was. And that's a direct result of why we're standing here today is their work, those standing behind me. And we're just there to facilitate and help them along. And they're the ones behind me that are doing the work. So I'm very impressed and very pleased by that.
Can you give us any insight into the Kalamazoo connection?
I cannot at this time.
One last thing from us. Do you have a criminal complaint hammered out yet? It'd make it a lot easier to look at that and reference the criminal charges.
I don't have it with me. Yeah, we filed charges, so I don't have one with me. I mean, we filed it today. I mean, so I thought giving the affidavit so you wouldn't all have to rush over to court, but there, it should be in court. There'll be an information and complaint
It'll
over
be a
there.
video this afternoon.
I'm assuming, I mean, I can't say for sure for 61st. We don't weigh in on arraignments, but, it was filed this morning. So usually 61st does their arraignments this afternoon. So that's what I would anticipate.
And real quick, could you give us the exact charges for Quinn James again?
Sure. It was first degree premeditated murder, felony murder with the underlying offense being kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, conspiracy to commit first degree murder, and then fourth felony offender.
It's pretty scary that, a student would be snatched on the way to school, walking to school and kidnapped and abducted and murdered. Is there any warning to the general public about something along these lines?
No, I mean, once again, A, is extremely rare, and B, once again, like I said before, once again, somebody you know. This is not a stranger danger case, and that's it seems to be the focus of a lot of child CSCs. And as a parent, I've done that with your kids. Don't talk to strangers. But the vast majority of cases in CSC with child victims are people you know. So this is not be aware and follow your kid to the bus stop. This is she was somebody she knew.